right. Good morning, everybody. I'm Jill's Thought. Well, this is the channel Jill's Thought. Today is July the 7th, 2022. I hope you guys are all doing very well. I myself am once again back in the middle of insomnia. This does happen to me, but we do the best we can, right? So, hey, thing one. Hi, Jackie Hughes. Jackie Hughes, Patriot Angel, welcome. Okay. Woo-hoo, Jacket Blue. All right. Sketty Nona, welcome. How are you? Okay. So, Dylan Rounds. Well, there's been some movement, right? No, he's not been found. But yesterday, Jim Brenner, who was a squatter, or I guess he is a squatter, but he's been arrested and now formally charged. Um, Jim Brenner was in court yesterday, and today is a very notable day because Chase Venstra, too, will be in court and charged, not for the disappearance or death of Dylan Rounds, but on unrelated charges. But here's why it's really important. It's really important, Quinny. It's really important because in the indictment of Jim Brenner, he is officially named a suspect in the case of Dylan Rounds. So officially now, good morning, Hot. How are you? Hey, Kapal, welcome. So Jim Brenner is officially now a suspect. Chase Venstra goes before the judge I think this afternoon, 1:30 Idaho time. There's some conversation about what will happen in the hearing. There's some extradition stuff. It's going to be a little bit different than what went on with Jim Brenner, but overall, it's expected that Chase Venstra will also be named an official suspect. I think this is great. I've of all of the facts that have come out, and by facts, I'm talking about the information that's been put out by the family, information that's been put out by the police officers, information that Kurt Wadsworth gave, and then Dylan and I can't remember his wife's name. Is it Elaine? It's not Elaine. It's Ellen. Is it Ellen? Anyway, there are people calling in to YouTube channels from the area and talking. There's a bunch of hogwash out there. I'm sorry. Can we get a hashtag hogwash? If everybody in here would just put hashtag hogwash, we can move forward. Good morning, Liz. How are you doing? On your way to babysit the grandbaby. I'm jealous. I wish I was going to spend the day with a grandbaby. Okay, now then, so there's an awful lot of information that's being talked about on some YouTube channels, but doesn't mean that it's accurate, right? You know what I mean? Doesn't really mean that it's accurate. Come on, y'all. We only got 3 hogwashes. Damn. How's that possible? Let's get some hashtag hogwash. Hashtag hogwash while I get a drink of water. All right. Still only 3. Okay. So, now, yesterday, we got an update from the family of Dylan Rounds. And I want to just caution I want to caution everybody to be wary of a personal type of, um, what do you call it? Oh, seems like there's a personal disagreement, personal animosity occurring between a private investigator and Dylan Round's mother, Candace Cooley. He hadn't said anything about the dad. The mother and the father are divorced. They have been for quite a long time, and they have other new families since the divorce. But I think that the mom and the dad have been quite united in this. I mean, Justin Rounds, who's the father of Dylan, and then the mother, Candace Cooley, they've been doing really great co-parenting where this is concerned. They're aligned together, and they are definitely aligned at this point. They're aligned with police. They were not originally. Originally, they used social media and the newspapers, East Idaho News with Nate Eaton. They wanted Dylan's story told because they did not feel like Box Elder was really taking. They didn't feel like the police really accepted that Dylan just vanished. They were kind of dismissive. They thought, well, he's an adult and he's living on his own, and maybe he doesn't want to talk to you, right? And so they really were, or the family felt that they were not really taking it seriously. And through their own reporting, they said that they approached the news and the public in an effort to get some attention in hopes that it would wake up the law enforcement. And it did. In fact, it did wake them up. They did get very involved. But something critical happened. And now it seems like we're kind of in an information lockdown, which seemed to happen maybe soon after Heavy D went out with his helicopter and his crew. Seemed like it might have been that week or so after. I could be wrong about that, but just kind of going off the top of my head, I think that's when it was. And I feel really, I think this is a mistake. Now, the Gabby Petito case, it was, to me, the Gabby Petito case is really important for we YouTubers that like the true crime, like we like the true crime or we like the trial, stuff. The Gabby Petito case was really, really important in that conversation of the true crime community on social media is interfering with investigations, right? And there's been this argument going on back and forth. I think it kind of came to a head. It got really passionate with the Summer Wells case. Well, no, that's not true, because Chris Watts, the family, it wasn't really interfering with the investigation, but the family got really passionate and angry about all the coverage that was being done of Chris Watts. Not Chris Watts' family, but the victim's family didn't want everybody talking about Chris Watts. I don't know why, but anyway. But with Gabby Petito, it was different. And then think about Delphi. So in the Delphi case, and I have long said this has kind of been one of my soapbox topics related to true crime. I think that the Delphi investigators, they might have followed the police academy instruction on investigation, but I don't think that it has been updated. I mean, I think they were following like the 1970s version. and which is you don't put any information out there. You don't want to put any information out into the public, because you'll get a lot of crazies that come out of the woodwork trying to take credit for the crime, but because they want to be famous. They see a notorious crime and they want to be connected to it. So the investigators are taught, you got to have identifiable details that are kept silent, so that when somebody comes forward and they try to claim it, they can name this detail, right? Well, in the Delphi case, of course, coming from a little tiny town where not a lot of disappearances and murders happen, if you know what I mean. I think they just didn't understand. They just didn't, and they kept things too quiet. They kept everything locked down. There was no information coming out for a very long time. And the problem is with the way that the human memory works, by the time they decided to release the video and the audio, people weren't even thinking, they couldn't even make the connection in their minds between being there on that particular day and seeing that person or not. And it just, their zest and zeal in hiding facts actually interfered with the ultimate resolution of the investigation. I believe that's my opinion. So between Gabby Petito, where her family really showed great, whether you want to call it intuition or you want to call it insight, they really recognized, here we are in New York or Florida. We're just, 4 people that love Gabby. She's lost somewhere in the mountains between Colorado, Wyoming, Utah, maybe Idaho, which is a vast, unforgiving landscape all by itself. And all the states between Utah and Florida. And so they said, here's this little liar, more than likely domestic violence, relationship. Who are we? We're just 4 adults. We can never cover the ground from here to Utah, all those states, tracing her path. We can never, we don't have the ability. We can't do that. Right. And so number one, what they did is they really got organized early on, and each of the 4 adults, meaning Gabby's mom, dad, and then their respective spouses, they got organized together. They worked together. They got organized and they sort of divided up who was going to do what role. And then they got busy. I mean, they were busy. And so for her mom and dad specifically, they began approaching all of the news media, the public, the YouTube channels, Twitter. They made a foundation, anything that they could do to draw attention to Gabby's picture. And the reason they wanted Gabby's picture is they wanted people everywhere, whether they were in Arkansas or Arizona or Oregon. They wanted everyone with their eyes open and looking. Right? And the one this van being parked in this place, number one, it wasn't supposed to be parked. And number two, the mountain area is already isolated. Communities exist in these little isolated pockets, and you drive 40, 50 miles in this very natural, rough, and organic landscape There's no stores really to speak of. There's no people along the way. There's houses here and there, but those people, it's off the road. People are working their farms or hunting or whatever. And so there's already not very many people there, right? And where they camped, where Gabby and Brian camped, it was even more isolated. It was an overflow area. And they were off the beaten path of the overflow area. So that this one family that had a child that died. So she had a blog, she had a YouTube channel, and she was making YouTube content. She was tuned into true crime. She was tuned into missing people's cases. And that one person out of 300 million people, that one person driving down that one dirt road in the literal middle of nowhere, and there was the van. That was it. They knew where to look. At that point, they knew where to look. At least they had a place to look, right? What about the guy from Louisiana, the television personality from Louisiana, who had an interaction with Brian at the bar? And his girlfriend said, "Oh my God, I think he's a serial killer." Remember that? A lot of people have forgotten that. So Gabby's family, they organized quickly with zero regard for themselves. They didn't care if anything negative came out about them. They didn't care if people found nasty things to say about them. Their one goal was, we must find our child. And they put to work all these eyes across the United States and the world, right? And it worked. Compare that to Delphi with the exact opposite response. And that was, keep it quiet, keep it quiet. No, don't tell facts about the case. Well, that's just goofy when we live in a world where there's people online day in, day out, traveling up and down the road. They could have seen anything that day. Hell, they could have seen the guy getting into his vehicle. So that's a really clear contrast, right? It's the Gabby Petito case being instrumental in demonstrating the real utility of this true crime community that's sort of taken the world by storm. Now, we're not investigators. I think it's absolutely a misstep for district attorneys to go on YouTube channels for interviews when there's a big case going on. That's a mistake. I think we have to be very cautious about bringing on real witnesses, maybe even people of interest in the investigation, and interviewing them on our channels before there's been any charges, before there's been I think we got to really guard against that. And specifically, I'm thinking about Summer Wells. And part of me wonders, is that why the sheriff's department has been so, what do you call it? Well, let me just be descriptive. It's possible that may be why there hasn't been an arrest. Because it's been so messy. It's been so messy. The Summer Wells investigation, the parents going online on their YouTube, making YouTube channels, and it's just been messy, right? In a way that blows Chris Watts' messiness out of the water. So yeah, I think there's limits to what YouTube channel commentators, I think there are definite limits to what we should be doing. I think if we're going to be a fixture in this true crime world, I think there needs to be some kind of at least implied ethics, right? That now certainly your professional ethics should stand. I mean, there would be no way that I would like interview uh, a person of interest or a suspect. I just wouldn't do that. You can't do that. So but in terms of spreading the word, which is kind of what I think Gray Hughes' channel, I think that might be his what do you want to call it, mission statement, were he to have one. Get the faces out there, get the names out there, tell the facts of the missing or murdered, try to get as many people looking at it in an effort that maybe somebody remembers something or someone knows something, right? So I think there's real utility in that. I really do. But I feel very uncomfortable when I hear someone saying, I'm going to solve this crime. I'm going to go out and I'm going to do an investigation of my own and put boots on the ground and walk around and create a circus. I don't think I don't feel comfortable about that. And so that leads me to this point of, with Dylan Round's mom and dad, they used in a smart way, in a way very similar to what Gabby Petito's family did. They used the social media and the public in an instrumental way to get the police focused, right? I think that was awesome. I think talking about the various people, the various players, the locations where Dylan went, I think that opens up the possibility that somebody saw something and then they reach out. That's why they offer a $100,000 reward or for information or arrest, right? But then something happened and they pulled back. And now we've got a statement from the family, came out yesterday in the East Idaho News. We get the statement of, right now we don't want anybody looking. We don't need anybody to look. We don't need anything right now. The family has pulled back from doing interviews. There's no more, talking or anything. And now, is that because they were slandered horribly, in my opinion? Possibly. Gabby Petito's family was slandered too, but they didn't respond. Nothing mattered to them except Gabby. That's all they were motivated by. So they didn't care. They didn't care that the petty YouTube, those. I'm going to say this carefully because I don't think it's clearly not every YouTube subscriber and or creator, because most of us think, why would you be talking about tax returns? That's obscene. There's a missing kid. That's what the point is. Why are you slandering the parents who are absolutely in grief and in misery? Why bring up other stuff that in the best of circumstances would be embarrassing, right? Why are you bringing it up? So now we experience something where with Gabby's family, they didn't care. They did not care about that minority of social media that pulled out the crappy information about the parents and, put it out there. It was so uncalled for and ridiculous. Now we see the same exact thing happening with Candace Cooley, and they've presented through their joy for harming people. They've really enjoyed slandering her personally, and then basically rewriting a narrative for Dylan Rounds, his life, and who he is. It's a weird thing. It's a strange thing going on. So the net effect, the point of this live, The net effect is that you have this parent that saw what happened with Gabby's family, perhaps, and so they said, we could use social media to help us. They did that. It was very successful. It did get a lot of people involved, and they got the police were finally opened up to this and working hard. And the public came out and they did searches like Heavy D. And they were doing really well until the slander and the personal attacks on Dylan and the family began. And when that circus came to town, I think that's what motivated them to pull back and say, done. I don't want to be a part of this weird YouTube, sensationalist kind of views at any cost, type of thing. And so they put out this, they put out a statement through Nate Eaton yesterday. The family did a united front. And the statement, you guys have probably already heard it. I'm going to go ahead and read it in case some of you haven't. And the statement is, the law enforcement investigation into the disappearance of Dylan Rounds is ongoing, the Box Elder County Sheriff's Office says. Law enforcement continues to be in the Lucin area. At this time, there are no organized searches planned for members of the public to participate in that are supported or authorized by law enforcement. We are asking the public to not search the area, as it has the potential to compromise the investigation. As a family, we are not asking for or requesting any additional public searches for Dylan Rounds at this time. We request that everyone allow law enforcement to continue their organized investigation without any hindrance or interference in order to avoid jeopardizing the investigation. We thank everyone for their continued support in finding Dylan Rounds, and this is signed by the family. This, to me, well, let me say, I've got 2 points to make on this situation. So they've pulled back. They don't want the assistance of the public any longer, and it's possible that it's the result of the weird slander, the strange creating sensational stories in the effort to get YouTube views, the whole crap. Now, I was actually very surprised because the PI, colorful PI guy, he actually goes on to Doug's channel again, and he says, when did that happen? Did that happen 3 hours ago? And like a good little puppy dog, Doug says, oh, yes, this came out about 3 hours ago, which really was not true. But it worked for the narrative, for the subscribers, the listening public, it worked. And he said, I know why they did that. That's because of me. I did that. This is directly against me. And my eyebrows went up, and I thought, wow, colorful PI guy, really? So you believe that Box Elder Sheriff's Department and Candace Cooley and Justin Rounds, who have a missing son, you believe that they are making decisions because of you? It's kind of, well, strange. Would you agree? And then on another, I think it was on another show, it came out that Doug, and it came out from the colorful PI guy, that Doug is taking, quotation marks, a crew. I don't know what that means. I don't know what constitutes a crew. Like if I heard that Scott Rice was taking a crew to a crime scene, then, I know I have an idea who would be there. I've met his YouTube manager. She's delightful, can I just say, and brilliant. So she would probably go, and he's got a professional sound guy and, video guy. So I can imagine the crew. I'm there. I get what the Scott Rice crew would look like, right? But I don't know who Doug's crew is. I don't know. And I'm not making light of it. I'm just saying I don't know what his production value team is. My production value team is Sage, who is here to offer moral support, and Barry behind bars and Fancy behind bars. They're here to fill in the background noise and keep subscribers awake. And that's pretty much it. Well, I have a plant. I have a plant that's part of the production crew to put out oxygen so that I can stay alert and, conscious while I'm making my videos. That would be if someone were to say, oh, Jules is taking her crew to a crime scene location, that's who the crew would be. It would be Sage, Barry behind bars, and his bride Fancy in the plant. And then we would go. So I don't know what it means when Colorful PI Guy says that Doug is currently en route to Utah with a crew. I don't know what that means. But look, your guess is as good as mine. I don't know what that means. I don't know if there's a camera guy. I don't know if there's a SEAL team member there, somebody that specializes in, grid searches. I don't know what that means, but that's what was said. And so the belief coming from Colorful PI Guy is that Doug and Colorful PI Guy planned a search that will be far superior to Box Elder, even far superior to the FBI. Definitely better than what Heavy D could do in the helicopter. Okay. Colorful PI Guy is on the case. He's there. Well, not really there. He's in Florida, but he's there at the YouTube channel or something. Okay. So I'm, I think this is super unfortunate for this family and for the sheriff's department and FBI. I think it's really unfortunate that even though they can't stop a YouTuber from coming to town, do y'all remember Boots on the Ground? Heels in the Air? Do y'all remember that debacle? Going to somebody's place of business and yelling at them through a megaphone? Do y'all remember? Okay, well, I don't think Doug has a megaphone, which is good. And I don't think he wears heels, which is double good, right? I mean, it's hard to walk in heels in the desert. So I just can't wrap my head around what they believe they're going to accomplish unless it is to get footage for the YouTube channel. And if it is to get footage for the YouTube channel, can't we just say that? Like, can't we just say, we're going to go out there. This is a story that's really hot right now. Many people want to know more. So we're going to go out. We're going to get B-roll for the channel. And, maybe we'll talk to some people when we're out there. Right? That's what I would say. First of all, I would never do that. I would not ever presume to enter an investigation on even a tertiary level. Never. The most I think I've ever done, and I was hesitant to do this, but I did ultimately feel like it had potential because it was so shockingly different. And that was to get the Nutgate video. I'm talking about the original, the first Nutgate video that went up for a few hours and then was taken down and replaced by something completely different. I did contact, the CBI and sent that to them. So, well, I asked, I didn't just send it. I said, I don't know. This is probably nothing. I feel a bit foolish calling, but I did kind of want to just let you guys know that this weird thing happened on YouTube. I have the video. It might or might not be of value, but I have it if at any time somebody wants it. Right? I was very hesitant and like, okay, I'm feeling foolish here, but I also maybe this is important. I felt like ultimately it was really important after Chris Watts' interview came out from the jail, like once he was in prison. The reason that it was really important. Now they already had it. I had already given it to CBI when that interview came out, but the reason when I heard his interview and he said something about, oh, are you talking about Nutgate? And they said, no, what's Nutgate? They acted like they'd never heard that term before. They had, but they acted like they didn't know what it was. And he said, well, it was just something that my mom and it was a word that my mom and sister used to describe a disagreement that my mom had with Shanann. And damn, my head, I said, what? If you heard the original Nutgate video, you would know why. So we now know, I mean, what was so important about that is that now you know that this name of this video and the content that was given therein was actually the birth child of Chris's mom. I mean, he said it without recognizing or knowing what they said on the Nutgate video. So anyway, I was hesitant and careful and did not presume to, I mean, for all I knew, they could have been monitoring all that and had it on their own anyway. So I would not ever load up and go to a crime scene while it was happening. I get why reporters do that. I mean, I understand that, but it's not my nature. And I think probably it would be against my professional ethics on some level. I'd have to think about in what way, but I couldn't do that unless I was requested, told to be there, then it would be different. And then I damn sure wouldn't take cameras and put it up on YouTube. So I don't know. I just think it's kind of sad that they had reached out to the public for help. And then they were, kind of slapped back hard in a bad way. Also, I'm a little bit concerned. Well, not concerned. I hate to use that word because that's not exactly right. I'm curious about there are people calling into these shows with Colorful PI Guy, but also True Crime with Jess, who I'm really enjoying her content. So if you haven't been to True Crime with Jess, I think you should. If somebody could drop that link, that would be really good. I'm enjoying her content. She's got some interviews up too. But if you put in Dylan Rounds and look down, on the search bar on YouTube, and then you look at which channels are putting out all the content, you're just going to see it's all Doug's channel. And so there are many phone calls with people talking. Now, Donna Serafina put out a video that I thought was just so excellent. So go, go over to hers, because she is dispelling these rumors, which I commented and told her, thank you for this. This is so important to do. It's so necessary, because the things are really getting muddied by Colorful PI Guy and his antics. I don't think, somebody's asked me, they said, well, do you think he's doing this in an effort to change the narrative because he's somehow like a part of this? And I said, no, I don't think so. Now, I don't have any like special super duper secret information, but just going by my like gut reaction on this. No, I don't think it has a damn thing to do with the investigation or Dylan Rounds at all. If you want to know the truth, I think it's 100% about him marketing himself. I think he's marketing himself. He's promoting himself. And now Doug has set up a channel for Colorful PI Guy and No Thanks channel. So now they're doing a whole new channel. And Doug says that what did he say? He said that he purchased the JimTerry.com site and Jim Terry Investigates site and Jim Terry Football site. That he's gonna build Jim Terry up. Colorful, I don't need to use his name. Colorful, PI Guy. That Doug is gonna build him up on YouTube. And I'm sitting here going, but why? Like, why are you gonna do that? So I don't know. They've got like this bromance going on it seems to be a little bit exploitative and sad, but anyway, so I don't think I don't think Colorful PI Guy is doing this because there's like consciousness of guilt, not on any level. I think it's 100% that he's doing this for PI Guy. I think he wants to be a influencer. He wants to be famous. He wants to be seen and heard and admired and revered. And he wants to be the smartest guy in the room. He wants to be better than law enforcement because he doesn't have to have any rules that he has to follow. Don't believe me? Go to Scott Rice's interview with him. Go to Scott Rice's interview with him and listen to him go on. And I literally think Scott Rice was about to fall asleep. Initially I thought maybe he might be sick. Then I went back and watched it and I thought, I don't think so. I think he's showing disinterest in what, this big braggadocious, thing was doing. But he was going, well, the thing I can do that police can't do is I can do this and I can do that. And police have rules they have to follow and I don't. And I can do this and that. And I was like, cool. So what you're basically saying is, people should give you their hard-earned money because you don't have any ethics or rules that you have to follow, which would suggest to me that there's no training and no expertise that's been demanded of your licensing board. If there's a licensing board, I don't know if there's or not. But anyway, I know that there are private investigator, like professional organization in what's it called? Intella. Anyway, I'll find it. I can't remember the name of it now, but legitimate private investigators join this particular organization that is worldwide, and it basically houses all their information and their experience, and so, private investigators, I'm gonna tell you a parallel. I would draw this parallel. Hear me out. Don't have a knee-jerk reaction. Just stay with me till I finish what I'm saying. I look at private investigators like I look at life coaches. Okay. Now, the policing of that profession, there is none for the most part. Life coaches can talk about most anything they want to talk about. They can advertise in a certain way. They can do all sorts of things that your professional licensing board would never accept for, like, a psychologist or licensed social worker, or clinical licensed clinical social worker. That there are not, for a life coach, there is not that foundation of prove your training, prove your experience, prove your own stability and health, prove your ethics and perhaps morality, right? So, and then if you can do all those, if you can check all those boxes, and trust me, it's tough. Then they say, okay, we're gonna let the law in the state will say, okay, we trust you. You've established with us that you're not crazy. You're not going to harm people. You're not going to manipulate people. You don't have a drug or alcohol problem that could set things going off the rail. Your education and training meets our impeccable standards. You've got lots of experience. We're going to give you a license, and that is going to make it possible for you to work independently on your own, take responsibility for the training of other professionals and the license, supervision for licensing hours. We're going to let you teach college classes. And so with that license, it carries this message of, this is a person that's been highly investigated, highly supervised and watched, and we're certain that they're okay. You can trust this person. They're not going to do something weird or crazy, Life coaching is not like that. Life coaching doesn't have that. Well, they don't have that history in place where they're trying to police their own field of profession, and so some people play loose and fast, but there are life coaches who they're amazing in the work that they do. Amazing. I have 2 life coaches that I refer my patients to for certain types of work. So I'm not bashing life coaches on the whole, like as a group, not at all. But these are 2 people that I've worked with for a long time. I know them. I know what their training and background is, and they are the best at what they do. Right? So, but then there's other life coaches that are just like, wow, like, are you sure? Are you sure this is a real certificate? Like, did you go to the 4-hour training? I mean, that's an awful thing to say, but I mean, I actually once heard somebody say they were a parenting coach, which makes me cringe. They were a parenting coach, and they literally told somebody that all that child needed was to be spanked. That if you spank the kid, make him understand what fear is, then it would be easier to control him. And I couldn't contain myself. I came right out of my seat and said, excuse me, can I say something? So anyway, I look at PIs that way. I think there's a lot of people that play fast and loose with this whole private investigator license deal. Okay. We got a couple here on YouTube that could be exhibit 1. But then you've got private investigators that were military intelligence, that they spent 20, 30 years in the military, naval intelligence, whatever, and they're conducting investigations nonstop during that 20, 30-year career. And they get out and they form a private investigator firm, and they are, busting cases wide open, working hand in hand with the police officers and FBI, not stepping on toes, knowing where their role begins and ends, and mostly having expertise, right? So you just have to be careful. You just have to be really, really careful. And you got to know how much training are they having to prove? What is their back? I don't know. I'm going to tell you this. I do not know what the requirements are for a private investigator to become licensed. I don't know what that means in their field. I guess I could find out, but I don't know. So, oh, what's that saying? You do feel superior? Who feels superior? Oh, I'm an ordained minister. It got out back of Rolling Stone. I think Jim may have got his license here. Yes. So I'm the same way, critters. I'm feeling so bad for the mom and dad that, okay, so just to give you an example here, or some context. So they reached out to the public responded, the police responded, which was awesome, and unfortunately someone decided to make a circus out of the disappearance of Dylan Rounds. And I think now that might be partially that might be part of why they're pulling back from sharing information. They haven't shared information with the public for quite a while. And I think they did that because they were becoming the story, instead of the story being about the Dylan Rounds missing. People weren't talking about that. They were talking about Candace. They were talking about Kurt Wadsworth, and they were talking about the, imaginary sex life of Dylan. So when I say imaginary, I mean, because why would somebody in Florida have any idea what kind of sex life Dylan was having? That's just goofy and weird that he's even thinking that. I mean, it's just weird. So I think they pulled back because they were shocked by the personal I don't even know what to call it, really, that you hire someone to help you, and then they come up with just this crazy speculation. And remember, I'm wild speculation Friday night girl, right? I don't really have a big problem with wild speculation, but this kind of stuff in an active investigation, you're the hired hand. You're starting now to talk about the victim and the fact of what kind of sex life he had. What's wrong with you? Like, what does that have to, well, okay, I said I wasn't going to go negative. Okay. All right. Y'all see how fast I caught myself? Okay. Now that there's no bona fide information coming out, now we've got these phone calls into YouTube channels. And the information that they're putting out is just crazy. It's just crazy. But there's people that, Doug is a really beloved creator. People really like him, and they think he's done a great job with the Summer Wells case, and he's interesting and fun, and they love him. So if he's endorsing this guy by having him on his channel every night, if he's endorsing these guys, then they naturally love Colorful PI Guy too. And I don't think they're really paying attention to what's actually happening. Um, so the stories are coming out, and here's an example. One of the call-in people, and I believe maybe even Kurt Wadsworth said this. I could be, I may be wrong about that, but one of the call-in people, um, they ended up saying Dylan was estranged from his parents. Oh, and maybe Donna Serafina said that. Maybe that was on her channel with Kurt Wadsworth. In fact, I'm thinking that is where it came from. I think it came from Kurt Wadsworth and his discussion with Reverend Donna Serafina. That's where it came from. That they were estranged. That Dylan was not talking to his mom or dad. That he wasn't talking to his family. Right? But then you turn around and go back to the original interview with Nate Eaton, and both Justin, the dad of Dylan Rounds and the mother of Dylan Rounds, both of them comment on when the last time that they saw Dylan and speaking to Dylan and how they knew that he was missing. He was not estranged. Families argue. If I challenge you, show me a single family where there hasn't been an argument among adults where maybe they didn't talk to each other for a few months. It happens, okay? It happens. So that's a pretty big story to put out there. That's got some wide-ranging implications. And you don't know what the hell you're talking about. That's the kind of information that comes from families and close friends. Now, if it came from Kurt Wadsworth, he does seem like he knew the kid. Maybe it is true. But I'm trying to say there's so much information floating around out there by faceless people that are giving a name. We don't know that those are people that live there. We don't know. They could be actors that have, they thought, oh, this is going to be great views if we could just get Dylan to come on and do an interview. We'd get so many views. I'm not saying that Doug did that. Don't get me wrong. I'm just saying it seems odd to me that you get so many people calling in to whatever channel PI guy's on. That's where they're calling in. They even called in to what's his name? Tyler Feller. Why is it that these calls don't come in when Colorful PI Guy is not on the show? The calls only come in when Colorful PI Guy is on the show. But then we're supposed to believe that it's so spontaneous and organic. You get my point? I'm not making a judgment saying that they're not really the people, but I'm also not saying that I'm going to believe they're the people that they claim to be. I'm not going to do either one. I'm not going to do either one. To me, it's nothing. It has no meaning. So, Feller, yeah, thank you, Muffin Top. Yeah, it's early. So anyway, I think it's unfortunate. I wish they would drop the personal vendetta. Or I don't even know if it's a vendetta. Just this personal thing that he's got going on, attacking the family. Let it lie. My hope is that they have asked for no public involvement in the investigation because they know who did it. That's my hope. My hope is they know who did it, which I believe would be Jim Feller and perhaps Chase Venstra. Jim Feller, it has turned out to be quite an interesting character, and it would appear that that what could be driving this is water. So in the desert, you'd rather have water than gold. And you know how I've always talked about intelligence is actually a two-prong factor. And that is, it is, how well do you learn and think and in the appropriate environment. So I may be the greatest researcher of all time, at Stanford University, but put me out into the Amazonian rainforest and I am one big dumbass, right? I don't know nothing about surviving in the Amazon, but in an academic environment, I do great, or I'm competent. I'll say that. So let's see. Jim gets emails and calls. Okay, this is not Jim Feller. This is Jim Colorful PI Guy. Colorful PI Guy gets emails and calls and then organizes the team. It's gross and cruel. He has searched with the family. He hasn't searched with the family. He has not searched with the family. He said that he has never been to Utah/Idaho. And then he followed up by saying, so my license is safe. What? That's weird. Or maybe that's the same type of motivation of, oh, well, if I'm moving around the country and you can't find me, then how can you serve me? It could be that same kind of adolescent, thought process. The man arrested Jim was searching with the father's group. Ah, interesting, Cinnamon. See, I didn't know that. So it was one of the police officers, what, like Box Elder? No, that's fine. No, you didn't, Cinnamon. You didn't. So anyway, I'm excited. I'm hoping that the comment about we don't want any of the public out here searching. We are investigating, and if you come out here, you could be disturbing the crime scene. My hope is now that they're in the part of the investigation where they're now really going back and collecting, supportive evidence and stuff like that. That I know they also said that there is a grand jury seated. Brenner, they believe that Brenner's information is at the grand jury, which I guess that's why they had to publicly name him as a suspect. I'm guessing on that. And so watching Chase Venstra's court appearance today, if he too is named as a suspect, then we can, I guess, assume that the grand jury has the two investigations. And then if they find that, there's probable cause, then they'll be charged. I'm talking about charged for maybe possibly the murder of Dylan. It all fits right into Lake Powell, Lake Mead, and Colorado water problems. All those states struggle from years of water conservation issues. Good water flows out of those states. The man that has been taken into custody, Jim, was searching with the family in Dylan's family group. Are you cold, Zelda? I have the cutest pictures of my grandma swimming in Lake Salt Lake at the turn of the century. It's those little cards you put in the view thing. And that is cool, Cinnamon. I would like to see that. That is very cool. Yeah, that's kind of crazy. What's the temperature, Zelda? Ooh, Jackie Blue. Thank you, Jackie. Welcome. I appreciate that. Okay. So while we're waiting to find out the temperature at Zelda's house, can I beg and do some shameless pandering for a thumbs up? By the way, can I get everybody to hashtag best community? Hashtag best community. Got your electric blanket on. It's 60 degrees and raining, so it's cold. Yes. Yeah, very fashionable, right, Cinnamon? Like with the stripes. Look at Jackie Hughes. Jackie Hughes. Hashtag best community. Exactly, Jackie Blue and Jackie Hughes and Muffin Top. Yes, yes, yes. Thank you so much, Jackie Blue, for being an amethyst in a community of gems. All right. So hashtag best community, please. I have a reason for asking you to do that. Because the more comments you get, the more the algorithm likes you. And as you guys know, I am romancing the algorithm, which is why I asked you to do a thumbs up. We are romancing the algorithm. Now, I heard someone reputable, I'm going to say reputable. I heard someone reputable say that there was some kind of reset or something with YouTube, and a lot of people are not getting notifications because you have to go in, unsubscribe, subscribe again, and then hit the bell for all notifications. And that when you hit the bell for all notifications, that's when they start giving you notifications. If you do that, some notifications, or no, or leave it blank, maybe, I can't remember what the other level is, then it's not going to give you notifications. So they changed it. They changed the algorithm at one point about 6 months ago. And so I was told, this is like a consultant for YouTube, that your community, if they're not getting their notifications, they have to unsubscribe and then hit subscribe again. And then they have to go to that highest level that says get all notifications. And then at that point, whenever I go live, then you get the notifications. Good morning, everyone. I am psyched to be in the best community on YouTube with all of the gemstones, right? Crimes and fashion. Okay, thank you, Zelda. Stay warm, Zelda. Oh my goodness, 60 and raining. It's chilly. Yeah. All right. Crimes of fashion. I myself have been known to commit some crimes of fashion. It doesn't happen very often, but occasionally. Now, there's one particular story that was notable that I will tell now because it was one of the funniest things I feel like I've ever done. Now, other people, like Colorful PI Guy, it's possible he would have been crushed, but I laughed my ass off. Okay. So I went to work. I was working at a big hospital up east, and it was one of those weird sensations. I was wearing boots. I had boots on with a skirt, right? I had knee-high boots and then a skirt. And as I was going through the day, it just felt weird, right? Like it wasn't enough to make me stop and do an investigation of why I felt funny when I was walking. It was just a little tiny smidge of something is weird about my shoes. I just kept on going. I didn't care. I just did my thing. And I was so busy all day, and I was being the perfect professional psychologist and being all, professionally, and spent the day sitting across from people that could see me and walking down long hallways where people could see me. And finally, I had this little 6-year-old girl that comes in. She's been seeing me for a long time. She's an awesome little kid. So she comes in, we start working, and she's all, talky and fun and being, her bubbly little self. And then, so we're getting close to the end, and it's getting time for, her to leave. And so we had finished what we were working on. And so I say to her, I said, well, do you have any questions for me today? And she said, well, I just have one. And I said, okay. I said, what is your question? And she said, I would like to understand why you are wearing 2 different boots. And I looked at her and I said, what? And she said, you're wearing 2 different boots. Why? And I looked down, and I did have on 2 completely different boots. Not even the same color, right? So one of them was like a chocolate brown, which was my favorite pair of boots. But the other one was more of like a kind of a yellowy kind of, like a oak kind of color, right? So I'm from far away, there would be no doubt in your mind that they were different, like none. Okay. One of them they were like riding boots. And so they had like straps across the top, the instep and around the back. And the other, was very plain. And I just looked at her and I said, oh my God, I have no idea. And we both just laughed and laughed and laughed and laughed. And she said, see, she said, I thought you would have a reason. You have a reason for everything. I said, I don't have a reason for why I'm wearing 2 boots. So, it's one of those deals where, and it changed me. That moment changed me forever, right? So now today, I double check my shoes. Isn't that weird? Like I never would have considered it. And trust me, I don't wear big fancy shoes and stuff. I go for comfort, which is why I wear boots and skirts instead of high heel shoes. I don't wear, I'm not a shoe person, right? I've been buying the same types of, work shoes for years and years. But anyway, but now when I go and I grab my shoes for the day, whatever I'm going to wear, I look at them twice because it's just stayed with me. It was such a strange experience. And the only explanation I have for it is I had a walk-in closet. And so when I, living up there, if you have to leave to get to work at like 5 a.m. because we lived literally on a log cabin at the top of a mountain, literally. I would have to leave at 5 in order to get to the hospital by 7. And so, I'd wake up, it would be the middle of the night, essentially. And I would go in my closet to get dressed, and I had a little tiny lamp, right, that I just turned on instead of the bright overhead lamps. So I turned a little lamp on, and the only thing I know is I was just half asleep, and I didn't really have good light, and I just grabbed 2 boots that were together, just, not really paying attention. And it was so funny when it all happened because I remember thinking, I knew it felt weird. So yeah, as one of my favorite memories for, being a human being, right? We're all like that. The prettier the shoe, the greater the pain. Yeah, right? Not me, Crimes and Passion. Not going to do it. Anne Klein. I wear Anne Klein, and I don't get higher than about an inch and a half. Well, maybe two. No, probably an inch and a half, not 2 inches. Because, well, for one thing, crimes and fashion, when you're walking around the medical center, that's not really very convenient, right? So on the days that I go to the medical center, generally I actually wear pants and tennis shoes. So if I wear my black pants, I wear my black tennis shoes. If I wear khaki pants or I have some navy blue, then I might wear like white or pink tennis shoes. But you know, when I go into private practice, it's still not going to be high heels and such. I'm so over all that. Yeah. I came out of the womb wearing stilettos. Oh my God. Crimes and fashion. You're my hero, truly. I look at women that wear the pretty shoes, but it hurts. It really, can we be, tell the truth, crimes and fashion. Does it hurt? When you get home at the end of the day, do your feet hurt? We want to know. Being the stiletto wearing vixen that you are, do your feet hurt at night? I bet they do. We're waiting. The world wants to know, crimes and fashion. Tell us about your feet. Hell yeah! Hell yeah, they hurt. Okay. I knew it, damn it. I knew it. Beauty is brutal. I know it's brutal. You want to know how come I know? Because I got fillers. I got fillers in my face. It hurts, crime and fashion, but can I say it looks lovely? I definitely think that it improved things. So I definitely looked like myself again. So, when you age, gravity sort of takes over even with your face. And when you get fillers like around your cheeks, it kind of lifts everything back up, right? So, yes, yeah. Beauty is brutal. So while I will not wear stilettos, I have to admire them from afar. I will actually go and get 1,000 needles in my face. Okay. My daughter has a shoe obsession. I'm so sorry, good grandma. It started when she was 3. She had some Dorothy slippers with jewels that she wore with her Barney outfit. She is my kind of girl, good grandma. If it sparkles, I want it. So, hey, Revival, welcome. I ain't scared of the business end of a Botox or Juvederm fillers. Right? Right? Tell the truth, crimes and fashion. The women that are coming in, and nowadays some men, right? The women that are coming in and getting Botox or Juvederm, the women and men that are doing that have some public position, don't they? Either they're doing YouTube channels or they're doing television or they do public speaking, right? Yep. Mm-hmm. Oh, Jackie Hughes, you are so sweet. Thank you so much. You're brave, Jules. I'm 56 and have wanted to do something to my eyes, but I'm too afraid. Well, Jackie, I'll tell you the truth. And this is what I told my daughter. My daughter took me, right? And so the whole time, of course, she's 20 something and gorgeous, like literally drop dead gorgeous. But she said, Mom, are you sure you want to do it? Why are you doing this? You look great, Mom. Why are you doing this? I was going, I don't know, because everybody else is doing it. I just want to see what it's like. I don't know why. I'm just curious. Anyway, so, while we were doing it, I saw her squinting her eyes and she was like flinching, and I told her, I said, it obviously looks worse than it is. It didn't. it's not pain like, I'm trying to think of a way to describe it. It's just pinch. It's just a pinch. It's not like a broken bone. It's not like hell, it's not even as bad as a toothache. 100% a toothache is far more painful than the filler. The it's just a pinch that you feel. It does, there's no, you know how when you get a vaccination, you feel the pinch, but then it kind of hurts when it's going in. It's, you don't get that. It's not burny, it's not anything like that. So yeah, I'm gonna do it again. So it's not bad. I call those bedroom heels. They ain't leaving the bedroom. Hell, mine ain't leaving the closet. No needle in my face. Can't do it. I know, critters. Even while it was happening, I was thinking, this is so silly. This is so cool. But then after it was all over with, I was bruised, right? I was bruised really bad. But then after the bruises started healing, it was great. It was wonderful. Um, yeah. It was, I would say it was worth it. In my situation, it was worth it. So yes, beauty is brutal. Brutal. Okay. I'll deal with the gravity. Aging gracefully, right, Muffin? Yeah. Um, I think I'm aging gracefully. Um, that kind of brings up an interesting conversation, crime and fashion. It brings up an interesting conversation for, what is aging gracefully? Like, you see some people, like for me, I most of the time I'm wearing my makeup if I leave the house. Um, I brush my hair, I moisturize my hair, conditioner, but I don't go to the hairdresser all the time, and I don't like spend hours blow drying and curling, and I don't do all that. It's just one of the reasons my hair is like it is because it's the easiest thing to do. Brush my hair in the morning and go. But I do wear makeup, and I do like clothes, and I love jewelry. But is that aging gracefully, or is aging gracefully not trying to improve on your looks? I mean, when you're young, don't you try to improve your looks by wearing a little makeup or whatever? Gray hair. That's what I'm talking about. It's getting Nona. But why? Like, gray hair is even turned into like a fashion statement. You've got gray hair is actually beautiful. Um, and there's a lot of young women that have done this whole, dyeing their hair gray. 10 to Life did her hair was colored gray for a while. So I don't know, what do we call it if you're not aging gracefully? Having a facelift, getting boob implants? Like, well, I don't know where the limit is. I think it's really healthy. Let me say this. I think it's really healthy that you feel confident, right? And so if being confident is putting on a little bit of makeup, then putting highlights in your hair, covering up your gray, whatever, then I think that's aging gracefully, right? You're not trying to hide your age. You're just taking your natural self and being the best you can. I think maybe I think you deviate from aging gracefully when you're trying to turn back the hands of time. You're trying to go back to, and I think that's where a lot of times people end up looking a little unusual, um, because they don't want to see a single wrinkle, right? And so they just puff up their face with fillers, and they start looking kind of unusual. Sometimes like a cat. Y'all know what I'm talking about? That's the closest thing I can think of. So, but yeah, when I went in and had the fillers done, I was very specific. I said I want some in my little bit in my cheeks just to kind of get everything back up toward my eyes where they're supposed to be. I don't want these big weird apple looking things, beside my nose. My cheekbones have always were high when I was young, and now, all that's fallen. So I want to just add to the cheek area. I don't want anything, like on the side of my mouth or my nose, and then my lips. And that, that's all. But I liked it. Truth is, I liked it. I think aging gracefully about the personality and the gratitude and facing each day, getting ready just to do the day. Exactly, Cinnamon. And I've had friends say, oh my God, I stopped doing my makeup a long time ago. Nothing's gonna help me. And I just thought, no, don't say that. Got to feel good about yourself. Because that wasn't about makeup. That was about somebody who was feeling disheartened, right? I had consult for eyelid surgery. You know what, Thing One? I've been thinking about eyelid surgery because I had a friend that had the eyelid surgery done, and she said that her vision went back, improved. And so sometimes I kind of play with it. I'm like, can I see better if my lid's not hanging? So if you had the eyelid surgery, be sure to pay attention to your vision and if it improves after the eyelid stuff. Hi, Alexandra. How are you? I did like it, Alexandra. Yes, I did. And so I don't see it, as a bad thing. Not at all. I'm very sad about my hypothyroid has made my hair a frizzy, fuzzy mess. I'm thinking of getting those glued in. Oh, those glued in extensions 6 inches shorter from breaking off. Well, I'm going to say something, Zelda. I think your hair is beautiful. But I don't know anything about glue in extensions. The only extensions I've seen were the kind that had the little snaps, right? But maybe Crimes and Fashion knows about the glue in extensions. If you have saggy eyelids, insurance will pay for it if the doctor states that it is medically necessary to improve vision. So it does improve your vision. Wow. Okay. There you have it. Interesting. Very interesting. Home from work, sick today. I'm sorry, having a fever. Doing okay. I hope you and your family are well. We are, Alexandra. Everybody is doing fine. Knock on wood. Everybody's fine. You should catch up on the Dylan Rounds case, Alexandra. There is a lot of information, YouTube talk shows and such. Tease my kids that my first tattoo will be lip liner. My lips are sort of blurry. That happens, Nona. A guy we know had his insurance pay for his eye surgery. Interesting. Nancy S. says that extensions will ruin your hair. I do not know about them, Zelda, and I would say no glue, get tape. So, do you know what that is? Oh, look at there. Look who just come. They are just coming out of the woodwork this morning. Welcome, Mark Gillespie, Mr. PI himself. Yeah, we've been talking about colorful PI guy. Give you one guess who I'm talking about, Mark. Who's the colorful PI guy? That is a curious fellow. I say do whatever makes you happy as long as you're not hurting anyone for it. Very well said, Melissa. Are very expensive. A tool that glues in extensions. Don't care what costs. My kids can go hungry. Zelda. I don't believe that. Not for a minute. You would not let any human go hungry, much less a child. You win, Mark. You win. I'm feeling irritated by him. So, you notice how politically correct I'm being right now. Okay. Two ladies I worked with got their eyelids done and it was covered by insurance. They also got tattooed eyebrows. Yeah, I'm going to say this about the whole eyebrow thing, okay? I'm not throwing shade on anyone, okay? I get generational differences. I do. But it's hard for me. Okay, I don't know how to say this without sounding like I'm being judgmental. I'm not being judgmental. Okay, good. So Mark Gillespie is also feeling irritated by Colorful PI Guy. Yeah. I don't know, Mark, if you heard when I was talking about, being reputable in your profession. He's really something. He's really something. JLR, Jonathan Lee Richards. Jonathan Lee Richards made a video where he claimed that Gulf Coast Investigations, which, Mark, we have one here, right? We have one in Katy, Texas. But apparently they're saying that, I don't know. It looks like his background may be a little murky, but I don't know what that means. Just going by what Jonathan Lee Richards says, his background may be strange. Reputation and credibility is so crucial. It is, and I felt like that the statement that was put out by the family of Dylan Rounds, that attorney was very specific about not really being competent, right? And he did say the letter was plural in terms of prior investigations. So there have been other problems, not just related to the disappearance of Dylan Rounds. A question that I would have is, if you're a private investigator and your state, of course, one thing he said, I'll tell you what he said that really got me. He said, oh, well, and I'm not licensed in Utah and Idaho. So I haven't been there. So my license is safe. So what did that mean? He also said that because he doesn't have an address, he can't be served. If they can't find me, they can't serve me. So he's a shady character, in my opinion. I mean, he went from just being kind of offensive to really being a little bit on the shady side. His name is all over Facebook as a scammer, and he preys on families of missing people. Oh, that's awful. Yeah, he did. He said it plain as day that his license was safe, quote unquote. He spread all this discussion about people's sexuality choice and whatnot. It's weird. It's very weird. But that's what he was referring to. He was talking about Kurt Wadsworth and Dylan, basically accusing Kurt of being a pedophile. And then he says, oh, well, I haven't been there. I haven't been to Utah. So my license is safe. And I thought, anytime I hear somebody justifying doing something all because their license is safe, it makes me a little uncomfortable. Like, well, what are you doing that you won't admit to, right? So I don't know. It's not good. It's not good. So do y'all have does the state have like a licensing board of PIs that can be sanctioned? Like is there a way that you might be referred to the licensing board? Clown emojis. Yes. I'm shocked by one creator's transformation. Ooh. 3 years ago, she had a very bushy unibrow. Now is obviously using filters and lighting to look better, but insiders still say ugly, mean, nasty. So there's a way to report him. Well, it would be interesting to know if he was licensed in Texas. He said he was licensed in multiple states, but I don't know which ones. Anyway, yeah, he's been very, very busy promoting himself. I don't think he gives a damn about Dylan Rounds. It's all been about how he can make money on YouTube, I think. I would hope that a PI cannot just be flagrant or reckless. Well, I would say he definitely is flagrant and reckless. Absolutely. He's ill-mannered. He's rude. He's misogynist. And I will say this too. I don't have a problem saying that because there's recordings to show it that I'm not making it up. The way that he talked to Real Crime with Jess was obscene. It's terrible. I wish you could just roll through and have stuff done at once, from eye exam, teeth cleaning, mammograms, shots and blood draws. Yeah, and the whole while, having, your best favorite music playing in your ears, right? You just one day, everything done, and you come out magnificent. Flor Marina, welcome. Good morning to you. How are you? Well, here's why I'm particularly disturbed by it, Alexandra. Let's face it, there's a lot of this type of obnoxiousness on YouTube. It's everywhere. He's not a unique character. They're all over the place. And we choose what we want to watch, right? So if you run across somebody like that and you don't like it, then you just don't watch again. You just stay away and you go watch something else. But the reason why this ended up getting my attention was because I don't like the personal attacks on the mother of Dylan Rounds. I don't like the personal attacks. And I think that it is changing the narrative so that we're no longer talking about the disappearance of this young man. Now we're talking about who? The colorful PI guy, which I think is exactly what he wants us all to talk about, right? So he has attacked the victim in this case. He has constructed a personal narrative for Dylan Rounds that has no basis in reality at all. Nothing. He's told us that Dylan was sexually abused as a kid. He's told us that he was involved in a homosexual relationship with a cross-dressing man wearing lipstick. He has Dylan Rounds potentially being a meth head, a user of methamphetamine. None of that has any basis in reality, none. And the guy that he's accusing of doing all these things with Dylan Rounds is a guy who has gone on multiple channels and verbally said, these things aren't true. I was hired because he needed a backhoe. I worked with him because he's got really neat ideas. He believes that he can grow something out here. He bought this land for $50 an acre. And if he can prove that you can grow a crop by using desalination of water that's coming out of the Great Salt Lake, that if you can prove that it will work, then the land suddenly becomes $5,000-$6,000 per acre. And who can argue with that? Right? Who can argue with that? And he obviously convinced his grandfather, because his grandfather is the one that helped him purchase the land. Now, it's come out now that there are imminent, like happening now, there are changes in water access policies, and people are not happy. And one of the areas that is directly affected is the area where the barn is, or I don't know what they call it. Do they call it the barn, or where he was going to put his grain truck, right, to keep it out of where Jim Feller was squatting, basically. But then again, Colorful PI guy said that Jim Feller was like partial owner in the land. He is not partial owner in the land. He is a squatter. The owner is some like a dentist in Salt Lake City and came from Colorado. So he's weaved this tale about this missing young man, the mom and the dad, brokenhearted, begging for help to get the police interested to do a proper investigation. And what he's done is just kind of be like the National Enquirer of, JT. He's just being a National Enquirer. He's just putting out salacious BS that has only a passing relationship with reality. And people are just eating it up. People are just going, oh, yeah, he's telling the truth. He's definitely telling the truth. And because he's slandering Candace Cooley, who fired him, I think he's just having a knee-jerk narcissistic abuse reaction. I think he got his feelings hurt, and he's, now there's hell to pay, like any good little narcissist would do, right? He is an ass, quote unquote. Very well said, Critters. I think that's the perfect quote of the day. I am most definitely not watching this that you speak of. Yeah, it's terrible. Actually, it's terrible. And so think about it. One of the favorite tools of a narcissist is ostracization, right? If you want to alienate them from friends and family, and you want to get family and friends gaslighted and manipulated enough that even when somebody begins to see the reality, they can't trust themselves. So if, let's say it's a girlfriend or a wife, an abused woman, and the husband comes in and charms everybody in her family, and without her knowing, right, all done surreptitiously behind the scenes, without the wife knowing, he's now asking the mom and the sister and the friend, have you noticed anything different about Cassie? She just seems a little off. She woke up in the middle of the night the other night and went outside to start mowing the grass. She said that it was a really hot day, but it was like 20 degrees outside. Like, have y'all noticed any of that before? And then they're like, oh my God, no, that doesn't sound good. And then he'll say, well, please don't say anything. She begged me not to tell anyone because she's embarrassed, but I promise I'll keep you updated, but please just don't tell her anything. And so that's the beginning of the manipulation. And they develop a storyline behind the back of the intended target, that when that target finally gets the courage to come out and go to mom or go to sister or go to best friend and say, look, the truth is, this is a very unhappy marriage. He's abusive to me and I need a way out. I'm afraid he will hurt me. And so I need a place to hide out. And when she does that, because he's been so busy working people behind the scene, then they're going, oh, it's so sad that she's gotten this far. We really need to put her in the hospital. She's claiming that she's being abused and that he's violent. He's clearly the nicest guy. He's only been here for her well-being. Look how hard he works to make her happy. She's crazy. And I'm not giving you like an outlier. This is the way they operate. So if we extrapolate that to what's happening on YouTube, he wants to tell these fantastical tales or ludicrous tales because he wants to create a sensation and get everybody coming over to the channel that he's on to see what he's going to say next. Oh, what is the fabulous PI guy found now that the police haven't found? Oh, what has he learned now that nobody else has found? But in order for that to be credible, in order for people to continue to believe his, dare I say it, bullshit, he has to somehow make them not believe Candace Cooley. Why? Because she's outspoken. Because when she hears that someone's telling a lie, she talks to Nate Eaton and says, oh, it's full of shit. My kid's not, that's not who my child is. Let me tell you who my child is. And so that's what he's done. He's slandered her. He's created this narrative about her that is inaccurate. And he's made people now hate Candace Cooley. It's incredible. So, we do a lot of lip service on, oh, let me tell you about narcissists. Oh, that's a narcissist. Narcissist this, narcissist that, narcissist. But are you seeing it when it's happening right in front of your eyes? Can you see it when it's actually taking place? Right? Hey, Yorkie, how are you today? Alexandra, is it COVID? Oh, gosh. Paxlovid. I don't know what Paxlovid is. Really helps 99% of the time, except for my hubs. He's still sick, Zelda. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I can't help but think, Scott, how do you feel about the ludicrous face mask? Ooh, good question. Mark Gillespie, are you still here? Yeah, because I'm just curious, and that's actually a really good question. So did you see the Lou Skunts character? Well, with the face mask and the black glasses and "14-year-old tested positive last night." I'm so sorry, Alexandra. Yeah. So a few people actually, when that came out, we were doing a live, and several people said, "Oh, I wonder what Mark Gillespie thought or would think about that." So just like if this was somebody that you knew like professionally and you saw something like that, would you be worried like about their stability? It's just it just seems like you're marketing yourself as a PI in a really public manner, It's YouTube. You're giving your phone number after your little speech about I'm a PI, call me. And then you do something like that. That doesn't exactly reflect well on the profession, right? Is it actionable? Like could somebody actually No, I can't imagine that any self-respecting human being I can't imagine that any it is quite adolescent, right? I mean it would have been if you had seen your 15-year-old, your 14-year-old do something like that, you'd have grounded them. Am I right? You if I'm gonna tell you if well anyway, it was a stunt that was typical of early adolescence, and it was the kind of stunt that wouldn't be really surprising to see, but that would definitely get grounded by a present parent, like a parent that is trying to teach their child to be a contributing member of society. You would explain to that kid, wow, this was wrong on a lot of levels. Let's talk about this. And oh, by the way, you're grounded for 2 weeks. Here are the things that went wrong. Let's talk about, do you know what misogyny is? Like the name you chose, you think it's funny, but it's actually like really offensive towards all women. And then just go down the list of why it was offensive, why it was wrong, why it's a bad reflection on him and his family members. But this guy's a 44-year-old football kicker who is still giving you his college football statistics. Okay, I'm sorry. So yeah, it was very juvenile. He gives his college football stats. He thinks it's really cool that he's the only white kid or young person at an all black college. That's him. And he's got you guys believing that Candace Cooley was a bad mom. He's got you guys believing that she's a horrible human being and an irresponsible citizen. Are you listening to him? Are you watching him? He is 44 years old and he's telling you his college football stats. By comparison, if that kind of thing really impresses you, are you impressed with the fact that Candace Cooley owns a fleet of custom built Peterbilt trucks worth over $2 million? It's fairly impressive, right? Definitely a woman that is achieving in a male dominated, career. Why are you believing him? That's why are you believing him? That's just what, that's what fifth grade skill. How do you know propaganda? How do you discern propaganda from truth? The first thing is, well, does this information match what I already know about the world? Is it consistent with what I already know about the world? Well, would it be expected that an intelligent, uh, fairly stable, healthy 44-year-old would define themselves by their college statistics as an athlete? Is that it? Does that make sense? Do most people do that? So like my husband carried the ball to make the winning touchdown for their state championship football game. He doesn't go to work and shake people's hands and say, "Hi, I'm Bill and I won, made the winning touchdown for our state championship game." It's yeah, doesn't happen. So it's not consistent with what you know about the world. Healthy, stable adults that have had a fulfilling adulthood, they don't typically over identify with their younger years. That's not a normal thing to do, right? So number one, no, that he is not consistent with what is developmentally expected of a 44-year-old person. And then the other part is, does it match with what you already know about the world? And is it logical and consistent with what you yourself know and have seen? So no, I bet you anything, you cannot think of a single person that walks around and says, "Hey, this is what I learned about the new kid at school. He was the victim of child abuse. In fact, I talked to someone that knew him and worked for him, and he said that they have frozen pizza together, and that means that they're in a sexual relationship, same-sex relationship, and they wear lipstick, which means that Dylan wears lipstick. And there's methamphetamine people that live there, and so he also is using methamphetamine, and that's just the way it is." You're listening to him. If you're listening with your wise mind, not your emotional mind, but your wise mind, you're listening to that, and in your mind, you're going, "What? What are you talking about? You are making absolutely no sense." In order for you to believe what he is saying to you, you have to believe that he has special knowledge, that he has some very special, interesting knowledge that no one else is privy to. What? Not even the cops? If you don't trust the box elder cops, do you trust the FBI? I'm going to guess that the FBI and box elder, they know more than, the fabulous PI guy. Just a guess. So why is he going on and talking, telling these fantastical stories about Kurt Wadsworth and whatnot, and then saying, "Oh, you can't believe Candace Cooley. She's $2 million in debt. You can't believe Candace Cooley because she did this. She had an argument with her 19-year-old son." Excuse me? You think that's evidence that they're estranged? Because she had an argument with her 19-year-old? You mean 19-year-old boys get mad at mom and dad and get in their truck and drive away for a year? It's common. So ask yourself, who are you going to believe? You going to believe the mom and the dad and the FBI and the cops? Because they're all aligned. They're not having any trouble. Or are you going to believe colorful PI guy, 8675309, and his, faithful worshiper? "Oh, he's a football player. This is a football player. 44-year-old kicker still in the game." Okay. Still in the game, huh? Get my point? Don't react to him ostracizing Candace Cooley. This whole splitting thing, she was so great and awesome when he was hired, but when she said, you know what, I think this guy's a nut. I don't think this guy is who he claimed that he was. We better, cut him loose because he's saying crap that is really making this investigation confusing. And so now he's got to make them pay, right? Yeah, 8675309, colorful PI guy. Yeah, yeah. We wouldn't be friends. Some apples and peanut butter is going to be my snack. Maybe I'll even squeeze some fresh pink related oranges. That sounds wonderful, Alexander. I actually teach little kids. We do squeezing lemons for to teach little kids how to do progressive muscle relaxation. We squeeze lemons. Seems like he got his, well, and I think that's funny too. Pay me first before you have time to find out that I am full of it. Right? Yeah. I was thinking about that. If I had a contractor that I was going to hire to do some work, and they said, "Oh no, you have to pay me like everything up front. Got to pay everything up front. That's how I work. You don't like it, your loss." I'd be willing to take the L. You know what I mean? Be like, okay, well, you better go on down the road and find somebody else who plays fast and loose with their money, because I'm not going to give you until I'm happy with everything that's done. So, I think that in terms of like carpentry, contractor work, I think it's fairly standard for like 25 or 50% up front. And then the other 50% is paid, when you're happy, when the job's finished, according to your, contract. No, I can't imagine. Yeah. Anyway, done. Okay. Check out Jim and go check out Candace Cooley. He was not hired by the mom and dad. He was hired by the aunt. Yeah. So I know that, Tony, although I will say this, I didn't know that it was the aunt. I thought it was the grandmother. Is that not right? Who would the aunt be? I thought it was the grandmother. But regardless, Tony, let's agree that it was not Candace and Justin, right? And it's important to say, Justin and Candace are not married any longer. Okay. So that's really two families. Well, I will say that, well, okay, let me say this first. It's the aunt. Okay. All right. And so the aunt, is that Candace's sister or is that Justin's sister? Okay, it's Dylan's father's sister. Okay. So she's hired by Justin's sister, right? And this is when I believe that he was hired when the cops were not really concerned about the disappearance, and they were just looking for any kind of information that they might be able to find, right? He was just supposed to dig up what he could find, correct? When it became evident, though, that there was a potential crime, and they chose to go public and try to get the police to listen to them, try to get public attention on the fact that Dylan is not a meth head that, overdosed or went missing in the middle of the night, that he's an industrious young man who was trying, he had a goal in mind, he was working toward a specific idea, right? And then the cops now begin to pay attention enough that they even include the FBI in the whole thing, which I think is because they crossed over from Utah to Idaho, right? So it's a multi-state kind of investigation. I think at that point, they are front and center. They're the primary contact with law enforcement. The aunt and Justin, are they estranged? No, he got hired. Wait a minute. He got hired because there wasn't anything and the family did not trust Candace. Fair enough. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. That's a backstory. That's so when you say the family, you mean Justin's side of the family, right? They don't trust now, and I want to understand this too, Tony. Dylan was actually living with Justin when he was growing up, like after the separation and divorce, right? So he really wasn't living with his mother for very many years after the divorce, right? So I think it makes perfectly good sense, and it matches what I know about what I would think would be consistent with the world, is that he grew up with Justin as dad front and center, and so dad is worried. Dad, so they hire. I don't know that I would have expected that. I don't know that I would have expected that Candace would be the one to do that, only because it just doesn't seem like he was living with her when he was a minor. So I can accept that. Now, one thing that I would say that is notable, Tony, is that when you read these, when you watch the interviews and you read the announcements or notices by the sheriff's department or by the family, they are aligned. I don't mean they're aligned together, good friends, in general. I mean that Justin and Candace are, when they put these notices out, they're saying the family, the mom and the dad, both the Rounds and the Coolies. So, but Mama and Papa is Justin's mom and dad. He did have the farm. The trailer was small and not wonderful, and so Kurt Wadsworth claims that he goes into the camping trailer like a nice mobile home, I guess, and to take showers or to cook a hot meal or whatever. I talked about this already, this idea of why would he go into town to sleep, in Kurt Wadsworth camper. Colorful PI guy claims that it's because, Kurt's a sicko because he's got a brother who is a registered sex offender. But he now extrapolates that or generalizes that and says, well, Kurt too must be, if his brother is, then he must be too. Really? Are you exactly like your brother? And he says, well, that's why Dylan is going there, is to do weird things. And I said, there's other potential explanations, right? There's other possibilities. It doesn't always have to go back to this sensationalist, crazy Lifetime movie kind of issue. It could be that Dylan was aware that he was the only person, out there in that area, that there was a lot of methamphetamine and those people are crazy when they're messed up. It could be that he didn't have any hot water for a relaxing bath. It could be that he couldn't sleep well because he was worried about the stealing and the crimes from the drug addicts. And so going into town and being able to sleep a couple of nights a week at that camper, then he catches back up on his lost sleep. So if he sleeps every single night out there at the farm, then he's sleep deprived because he's half awake worrying about if if somebody's going to come try to steal. He had some of the best equipment that was there. He had put a lot of people out of business. They were mad at him. There's a lot of stuff, backstory. But ultimately the question was, why would he go in and stay at Kurt Wadsworth camper? And I'm just saying, it doesn't have to be about something ugly and nasty like pedophilia or sexual coercion. It could have been he wasn't getting very good sleep, and going into town he felt safe, and so he was able to fall asleep. Right? No Freudian slip. We see you. So my complaint against Colorful PI Guy and all the people that are really, I don't know if Tony's still here or not, but all the people that are really, really embracing all the things that he says, believing the people that are calling in, sight unseen, unquestioned. I'm not saying that those people are wrong. I'm not saying that information is wrong. I'm saying, why are you so fast to believe it? When for you to believe some of the stories that Colorful PI Guy has said, it requires you to hate Candace Cooley. And he's done a really good job of making you hate her. I would just say the PI got the most information to lead the police and FBI on the right track. They have Jim in jail. He wasn't saying that Jim did it, Tony. Go back and look at what was being said a week or two ago. It was Kurt Wadsworth all the way. Kurt's a pedophile. Kurt's a crossdresser. Kurt. He knew Dylan when Dylan was 17. That means that he was molesting Dylan. Dylan doesn't have a girlfriend. Dylan's never had a girlfriend. What kind of 17, 19-year-old boy doesn't have a girlfriend? What kind of 19-year-old boy goes and stays in the camper of an old guy? You're being handled, Tony. The information about Jim, that didn't come from him at all. That all came from the FBI and Box Elder. Your boy, Colorful PI Guy, he didn't say a word about the water rights disputes. Not a word. He didn't say anything at all about Jim being so angry and saying that, he was going to end up killing that little 19-year-old. He didn't say a word about that. You guys have bought the narrative. You have been snookered, in my opinion. If you give it some thought, Tony, and you do it like with a logical, wise mind, no emotion, just logical. Why is it that the only way you can believe what he's saying is by hating the victim's mother? Notice he's not guiding you guys to hate Justin, but Justin's not outspoken. Justin's not argumentative. Now the aunt, his sister, seems like maybe she might be toe-to-toe with Candace, or maybe she just doesn't think that her brother, it's not really like him to go hire a PI. Maybe she had some good luck previously with a PI, and that's why she, went ahead and pulled the trigger on that. Don't know about that. That's what I'm telling you. There's so much that's unknown. This guy, PI guy, he's even got you guys to the point that when Kurt Wadsworth himself, the man of the hour, why is he the man of the hour? Because Colorful PI Guy made him the man of the hour. Because Colorful PI Guy for 2 weeks has been telling you guys that he's the one that hurt Dylan, that made Dylan disappear, and that had everything to do with weird, crazy moo cow sex and methamphetamine. That's his narrative. So explain to me again, how is it that PI Guy did a damn thing about leading the cops to Jim? I'm sorry, but you may have forgotten this amongst all the circus noise. Jim was there. He was squatting in a trailer. Dylan was dealing with him every day, and it wasn't good dealings. They didn't like each other. It wasn't a far leap to go, oh, wonder if this guy might have something to do with it. No, I do the back checking everything. No, the aunt said if it's, I don't know what you just wrote. I do the back checking everything. Yeah, Nancy. Nancy Drew, we need you on the case, girl. Hooked, horned, and feathered. Welcome. I was looking to see if I missed something that was said by Tony, but I don't understand his last comment. I've slowly learned why my dad wouldn't take us to circus. Yin Yang, welcome, friend. How are you doing? Allegedly, Justin's family hired another PI before to find out about Dylan's mother. Okay. The word was PI found that she cheated on Justin and took money from him. Yeah, but who said that, Yin Yang? Who's the person, who's the vehicle of that information to YouTube? Like, why do YouTubers know what Justin's dad said or heard from a PI? Like, how did it get to us? Yeah. So, no, absolutely. I think Justin is really in distress. And he did seem, in all fairness, he did seem to be leaning away from Candace. He seemed to be sitting on as far to the left, to the left of his chair. No, I did see that. Yeah. Oh, look, I think it may actually be the colorful PI guy. How many missing persons cases have you solved? How many times have you gone and volunteered to search for missing persons? Are you going to ask me how many footballs I've kicked? I'm just a little curious, Kat, why you're so defensive of your boy Jim. Like, what's so special about him? A little curious, little confused here. Isn't the story about Dylan Rounds? Isn't that what the story's about? And then Justin allegedly tried to drive over her with a car. I heard this said by the girlfriend of Candy's. What, yin yang. Who is the girlfriend of Candy's former boyfriend? I'm going to guess this was a caller that called in just to talk to the colorful PI guy. Probably on Doug's channel. Is that right? Yeah, that's okay, Emily. I'm fairly secure in yeah, it's okay. Neither is Jim. Neither is Jim. You want to know what Jim's busy doing? Cat. Maybe the cat got him. Maybe the cat got him. You want to know what Jim is doing? Jim is busy making himself a YouTube star so that he doesn't have to work. He's busy making himself a YouTube star so he can run around and kick the football a couple of times in a game. And then the rest of the time, he can just go on YouTube and tell everybody how wrong they all are. That's all. The only person that, Jim Kelly, I'm sorry, Jim Kelly, famous football player, Jim Terry, colorful PI guy. I can't keep that straight in my head. I don't know why. Hooked, horned, and feathered, loves the cat. Have you seen that? I think it's a TikTok. The guy that gets out of his truck because there's a little tiny little kitten that's running across the road. And so he gets out and he goes over to help the little kitten. He's like, oh, little kitten, you're out here by yourself. And then he looks up and like 12 kittens come from out of the grass. It's so cute. Jim got unknown facts from his imagination. Yeah, maybe. Huh? Maybe. You don't have to be a doctor. Do you recognize when you're being treated badly by a doctor? There you go, Nancy. Very well said. I'm also not going to insert myself into an investigation 1,000 miles away. Simple-minded. Thank you, Alexandra, for stating the obvious. God. Let's form a search party and all go out there and search. Yes, Kat, let's do that. Let's go and take our crew and go do exactly what the cops have said they don't want us to do. Yeah, that is a good idea, Kat. That's a great way to destroy an eventual trial. So go, yeah, that's a great idea. But you know who it does benefit? By telling Doug, his newest little puppy, hey, Doug, go out there, take some B-roll, make it look like you're doing something, and we'll get more views. We'll do on location. Remember when boots on the ground, heels in the air? Remember when they did it? You remember that circus? Well, with Jim, the private PI guy, when he came to town, he brought the circus with him, just like the other bunch. Believe it or not, there are people investigating that know what they're doing. You know, they do stuff like actually climb the faces of mountains. They can go into areas in these harsh terrains that other people can't go. They are people with special skills, and they show up and they say, "Hey guys, I'm here to help. Do you want me to go down into that old mine? I'm happy to do it." Some of those people are my friends. So I don't know what Doug, and definitely don't know what colorful PI guy sitting in Florida. I don't know what the hell these guys think they're going to do when you've got people out there with real life training and skills and the proper equipment to do what they're doing. And has it occurred to you, Kat, that they had indictments yesterday and again today? They've got a formal announcement that Jim Brenner and very likely Chase Venstra are both going to be named legitimate suspects in the disappearance of Dylan Roof. Has it occurred, not Dylan Roof, Dylan Rounds, has it occurred to you and your little PI guy, has it occurred to you guys that this may not be an investigation anymore for a missing person? They may now be constructing a court case to go to trial for the murder of Dylan Rounds. And you fools go out there tramping around in the desert and destroying what they may be trying to gather and document. So go ahead, Kat. Go on down the primrose path with your colorful circus clown. Go ahead. But at the very least, do this, okay? This one little thing. Stop trashing the family. Stop trashing the family. The family has lost their child. Regardless, nothing else matters other than leave them alone. Stop slandering them. Stop talking about if she has tax problems or if she had an affair. Do you know how many adults in this country have had affairs? By the way, I don't think colorful PI guy's ever been married. So nobody can have an affair on him. Oh my gosh. See, I got triggered. I hate when I get triggered. I try so hard not to get triggered. Search party organizations work with law enforcement. Kat, do you read? Have you ever read? Or do you only listen to what your boy Jim is throwing down after he gives you his college football statistics? Do you? I'm triggered. I'm triggered. I hate to see people getting manipulated. Let's see. Here we go, Kat. Just for you. Okay, let me make sure you can see that. See, I got to take that down. Hold on. Just a minute. There we go. Okay, Kat, pay attention, okay? This came out yesterday, all right? This was East Idaho News coming out of Idaho Falls with Nate Eaton. Okay, are you okay with Nate Eaton, or do we have to hate Nate Eaton? Do we have to believe, so that colorful PI guy can be right, we have to hate Nate Eaton? We have to believe that he's a liar. We have to believe that he has a personal vendetta against the colorful PI guy. In order to believe what the public colorful PI guy is telling you, you're going to have to believe that Nate Eaton and Box Elder Sheriff's Department and the FBI, that they all have a personal vendetta against your boy. Okay, so let's see what was in the paper yesterday at the request of Candace Cooley. No, let's say it. The family. This is a quote. The law enforcement investigation into the disappearance of Dylan Rounds is ongoing, said the Box Elder County Sheriff's Office. Law enforcement continues to be in the Lucin area. At this time, there are no organized searches planned for members of the public to participate in that are supported or authorized by law enforcement. That's it. What now? What? Oh, they hate Jim. Is that right? They hate Jim Terry. This was all done against Jim Terry. They found out that Doug was going down to collect information for Jim Terry. That's what he actually said. He actually said that last night, that this right here, this notice put out by the sheriff's department was done because they don't like Jim. They don't like Jim. They don't appreciate what a good football kicker he is. Damn it. If they knew how good of a football player he was, they would let him work on this case. Yeah. We, meaning the sheriff's department, along with the FBI, we are asking the public to not search the area. It has the potential to compromise the investigation. They have 2 people in jail. 1 is indicted. 1 will be indicted today. And they have a grand jury. As a family, meaning both Justin and Candace, coolies and rounds, as a family, we are not asking for or requesting any additional public searches for Dylan Rounds at this time. We request that everyone allow law enforcement to continue their organized investigation without hindrance or interference in order to avoid jeopardizing the investigation. Which investigation? The investigation for, okay, we're going to trial. We thank everyone for their continued support in finding Dylan Rounds, and, it was the family and the FBI and the Box Elder Sheriff's Department. So, Kat, now what? Okay, done. Right? Crickets. No comments. Okay. All right, everybody. So it remains to be seen if Doug will do the right thing and turn around and come home, or if he'll continue to do exactly what Colorful PI Guy tells him to do, which is make me great. I don't care, Doug, if you drive your channel into the ground. Just make sure that you make me great. So I really hope that Doug will take a deep breath and do the right thing. The police, the family, they're saying it's enough. They've got 2 people in jail, 1 currently indicted, and there's a grand jury with the information. That's that. If it is an investigation in preparation for trial, the lawyers do not want anyone out there. They do not want to disturb anything else. It's already been disturbed because they had several large searches, but they're just trying to preserve a scene now. All right. I got to run. I got to work today. I got a late start, but I'll be working late into the night. So y'all think of me, okay? Think of me in the best of terms, not when I'm in the middle of a temper tantrum. All right? Okay. Hey, Karen Gillette. Doug's okay to go to jail again. Oh, is he going to go to jail? Why is he going to go to jail? No. Don't say, we don't want that to happen. You have a great day too, Jackie Hughes. Everybody, thank you. Critters, you're amazing. Cinnamon Hot Hot, I appreciate you guys so much. Blonde PT, welcome. Thank you, Jack Hughes. Jack Hughes. So, Rochelle, I'm glad to see you. 100% grant reward money. That's why I lied. What? That's why I lie? Who lied? Oh, that's why. Okay, sorry, my bad eyes. I need eyelid surgery. Thank you for being here. Hooked, horned, and feathered. Alexandra, thank you so much for being here. Blonde PT, it's really good to see you, but you kind of came in toward the end. I'm sorry. Freudian slip. It was good you're here. Zelda, thank you for helping. I appreciate you so much. And I do hope that Larry gets to feeling better. Y'all have been sick a long time. Good grandma, I'm not sure if you're still here, but if you are, thank you for being here. Lainey very good to see you, Lainey. Nancy Drew, we may have to send you out there, girl. Get this thing solved. Thank you for being here. Yin Yang, nope, definitely don't hate Nate. Nate is the bomb. Jay Hughes, thank you for being here. Cindy Sue gets triggered as well. Well, I'm in good company, Cindy. Thank you. All right. Did I get everybody? Strawberry wine. I'm not going to sing today. I can't. I got to go. Kat, thank you for being here. But listen, just give the family a break, please. You can love PI Guy. I don't care, but give the family a break. No more slander, right? Good grandma. Appreciate you being here. I hope you enjoy your day with your grandchild. Critters, I thank you and appreciate you so much for everything you do. Saul T, welcome, and thank you for being here. Is that everybody? Oh, my arm's getting sore. Let's see. Tina Baker, thank you. Who else? I'm all the way at the top of the roll. Emily Flotilla, I knew you were here, Emily. Thanks so much for being here. Thanks for all you do and help me. Thank you, Tina Baker. Boo, boo, boo. And so this is the best community, Tony Dolby, in YouTube world. So if you agree, put a thumbs up. If you disagree, put a thumbs down. And you guys have a nice day. Can we get thumbs up before I leave? Pretty please, with a sugar cherry on top. Yeah? And I guess Mark had to leave. Some of us work, right, Mark? All right, everybody. Y'all have a great day. It is the best community. Absolutely. We are a room full of gems. Priceless treasures all. Yep. You have a great day, Karen. Good to see you. You too, Grandma. Have a good day, everybody. Thumbs up before you leave. Thumbs up before you leave. I hope Larry's feeling better soon, Zelda. I really do. He's been sick a long time. Y'all drink lots of orange juice. I'm a believer in the good old vitamin C. Okay. Y'all are awesome. Look. Mark Gillespie was here for my rant. What'd you think? Yeah, point made, right? You have a good day, Mark. It's good to see you again. Darlin Valentine. I love you more, Darlin Valentine. Welcome to being here. You need to talk up more during the chat so I'll know who's here. If y'all don't talk, I don't know who's listening. All right, everybody, I got to go to work. I know. You know what? I really like having mornings where I just get to kind of be alone and be lazy, but then I have to work late at night. So it's a terrible trade-off. All right. Y'all have a good day. See you later. Bye. Hit the thumbs up, damn it.